Hello, this is Mrs. Simmons. I'm here today to talk about characterization, so let's go ahead and get started. So, characterization, quite simply, is the way that a writer creates and develops a character's personality. How do they really develop this character as a real person? There are four basic methods that writers use with characterization. One of them is direct comments about the character's personality via the narrator's voice, where they're clearly saying, this person is like this. The second way is describing a character's physical appearance, so not just what they say and do, but also the way they look. The third way, and the most hefty way, the most important way, is when they present the character's thoughts, actions, and speech, so what they think, what they do, and what they say. The fourth way is by using a secondary character to characterize the one that we're looking at. So when they present pertinent thoughts, speech, and actions of other characters in relation to the main character or the character that we are actually breaking down. So a few examples as we go through this. The first one is when, again, the reader is directly told what the character's personality is like by the narrator. So in Flannery O'Connor's Good Country People, it says, Mrs. Freeman could never be brought to admit herself wrong on any point. Now that's not an inference, that's very direct. That is saying that she doesn't say that she is wrong. The end. This is the kind of person Mrs. Freeman is. The second thing that an author can do, again, is to describe a character's appearance and manner. So in A Small Good Thing, it says, the baker, who was an older man with a thick neck, listened without saying anything when she told him the child would be 8 years old next Monday. The baker wore a white apron that looked like a smock. Straps cut under his arms, went around and back, and then to the front again, where they were secured under his heavy waist. He wiped his hands on his apron as he listened to her. He kept his eyes down on the photographs and let her talk. So here we find out that he's older, he's a large man, he is definitely a baker, so he's a worker, he's wearing that apron, he's wearing it very well in a way that is secure, that he's definitely putting in a lot of work here, and it also tells a little bit about his manners, that he is quiet, perhaps shy, and really just lets other people talk. The third way an author can really portray characterization is through the character's thoughts and motivations. So in This Boy's Life, this quote says, I didn't come to Utah to be the same boy I'd been before. I had my own dreams of transformation, Western dreams, dreams of freedom and dominion and taciturn self-sufficiency. The first thing I wanted to do was change my name. A girl named Toby had joined my class before I left Florida, and this had caused both of us scalding humiliation. So this tells us a lot about the character's thoughts and motivations. They wanted to move, start fresh, kind of start a new life. Even change their name because there was some shame associated with their name. It tells us a lot about that character in just this brief passage. Another way is to show the reactions to the character or person you're portraying. So, for example, in The Overcoat, it says no respect at all was shown him in the department. The porters, far from getting up from their seats when he came in, took no more notice of him than if a simple fly had flown across the reception room. So through inference, we can really think that the character that these characters are disrespecting is probably a man that has some power, but for some reason nobody else shows respect to him. So perhaps there's something that this main character has done that has built negative thoughts or lack of care, apathy by the others, and so the other characters tell us something about the main character that we are characterizing. Now, we can also use a character's actions to reveal his or her personality. So in Miles City, Montana, it says, he would hang around our place on Saturdays, scornful of whatever I was doing, but unable to leave me alone. I couldn't be on the swing without him wanting to try it, and if I wouldn't give it up, he came and pushed me so that I went crooked. He teased the dog. He got me into trouble, deliberately and maliciously, it seemed to me afterward, by daring me to do things I wouldn't have thought of on my own. Digging up the potatoes to see how big they were when they were still only the size of marbles, and pushing over the stacked firewood to make a pile we could jump off. So here we learn that the character's actions, his pushing others, not leaving people alone, daring people to do things, tell us that this kid is kind of a troublemaker. So his actions reveal some stuff about him. So now let's talk about character types. There are 4 basic character types that you should know when we talk about characterization, and these should be pretty easy for you to memorize, and they become really important as you continue down the path of truly deeply studying literature. So first we'll look at static and dynamic. Dynamic characters are characters that change throughout the work. They do not remain the same. whereas static characters remain the same throughout the work. They don't learn anything. They don't change in any way. So let's stick with To Kill a Mockingbird as our examples here. A dynamic character in Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird are Jim and Scout, the two protagonists. They change with revelations that they learn about their town, about the world in general. Jim grows up, loses a lot of his innocence in the face of evil in the world, and Scout realizes the importance of seeing the world from another person's point of view. So they change, they grow in some way through their trials and tribulations. However, a static character in the same novel is Miss Maudie. She stays the same. She's spunky, hopeful, open-minded, wants to try and help Atticus change the town, but she doesn't change, she doesn't grow through what happens. She's a static character. Now, typically, just so you know, main characters are dynamic in some way. It's not always the case, but quite often. The other two types are round and flat. A round character has many facets to their personality. They are a fully fleshed out person, good and bad traits. Whereas flat characters only have one personality trait that we see. We don't see anything else. So, sticking again with To Kill a Mockingbird, Scout is a tomboy and intelligent, curious, but also content in her life. So she's very well-rounded. She has good and bad things going for her, because she also says things without thinking sometimes. So she's a real person fleshed out by Harper Lee. However, Bob Ewell, the antagonist in this, is just flat out a hateful man. That's it. That's all we see. There's nothing else to him. So, this is Characterization. I hope it's been helpful to you. And if you have questions, remember you can always contact me. Thanks!